we're going to continue to find out if there's anybody responsible, anybody that hasn't been held accountable. And if they're out there, we'll find them.
Here we are. Donald Trump finally saying we should release the Epstein files. He said it on Truth Social. House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files. I've been saying this all along, or at least he says, as I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One. I believe this is why they're now doing it, and they've waited up until this time to do it. This is why. Pam Bondi has been running interference for Donald Trump as part of some pedophile protection network, some secret special agent to protect Donald Trump. Kash Patel's been running interference. Really, the entire Justice Department working as personal attorneys for Donald Trump have been doing this. And it's given them enough time. They've stretched this thing out. The House went out of session. They shut down the government, all, I believe, in an effort to defend Donald Trump from the credible accusations that he faces right now. It's given them enough time to come up with some legal strategy to get them out of this. Because now if they say, oh, release them, I'm fully for releasing them, while having months and months and months of a backlog of saying don't release them, doing everything they can to not release them, now they have a legal strategy, which is open up a new investigation and say, oh, well, we can't release them because there's an active investigation. And that's exactly what you're going to see play out over the course of the next few weeks. Here's Todd Blanche doing some news shows yesterday, talking about this investigation, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. If there's other people that are involved in this, we're going to wrap them up in a case, and we're going to hold them accountable, says Donald Trump's former personal criminal attorney, now high-ranking official in Donald Trump's Justice Department.
Anyway, and so we're going to continue to find out if there's anybody responsible, anybody that hasn't been held accountable, and if they're out there, we'll find them.
Yeah, I think most Americans would say the fact it has been going on for more than a decade, and it seems like nobody's left to prosecute or bring charges against. You can't seem to find evidence is what's concerning to people, and more transparency the better, so thank you.
And this follows Donald Trump, who posted on Truth Social on Friday, as though that's an arm, that's a direction, that's an official capacity of communicating with his government is through Truth Social. He said that they need to start an investigation, directing Pam Bondi and the DOJ. This is from Reuters. U.S. Justice Department heeds Trump's demand to probe Epstein ties with Democrats. The U.S. Justice Department said on Friday it will fulfill President Donald Trump's request to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's ties to former Democratic President Bill Clinton, as Trump sought to shift the focus from his relationship with the convicted sex offender. The move comes 2 days after a congressional committee released thousands of documents that raise new questions about Trump's relationship with the late financier, and marks the latest in a series of demands by Trump for federal law enforcement to pursue his perceived political enemies. And if you were worried at home, well, I wonder who's going to head up this investigation. I hope it's someone credible. I hope it's a bulldog to really seek justice. You're in luck. It's exactly that. No, it's Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi's going to head. The Attorney General of these United States of America is going to oversee this investigation. It's so interesting to me that Donald Trump, you got clips of him all over the place. You shouldn't be looking into me. I'm not the one you should be, even though my name's in the Epstein files 1,600, 2,000 times. Don't worry about me, the guy who was the best friend of Jeffrey Epstein for a decade and a half. Don't look at me. Look at Bill Clinton. Look at these other people that had relationships with Jeffrey Epstein. I agree. We should look into Bill Clinton. We should look into Bill Gates. We should look into Larry Summers. We should look into everybody who had ongoing communications with a convicted rapist of children, including Donald Trump. Now, this is what Donald Trump posted on Truth Social yesterday evening. As I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. Interesting, because that question was asked of him last week aboard Air Force One on his way to Florida. A reporter had dared to ask, hey, if there's nothing in there, why not release him? Remember this moment when he told her to quiet, quiet. He yelled at her.
You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all
Right. It's a stark change in attitude, a stark change in tone, is it not? So he continues here. We have nothing to hide, he says, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party. And then he goes on with his lies about his accomplishments. Interesting that it's a hoax perpetrated by radical left Democrats when they had the right-wing influencers out on the portico of the White House holding their giant binders that said Epstein Files Phase 1. Seems like that's a White House created hoax, no? It is, look, it's remarkable. Hypocrisy obviously is something that it's the native tongue of Republicans, for sure. But it is always, to me, still shocking, nonetheless, that they project with this much vigor. The thing that they're guilty of, dead to rights guilty of, they're accusing Democrats of. And largely, it works with MAGA world. Now, there is a percentage of MAGA world out there that is absolutely waking up to this and starting to see, because the thing they were whipped into a frenzy about, a fury about, creating conspiracy theories about, they're being told that's a hoax now. Don't pay attention to that. Now that Donald Trump is in emails where Jeffrey Epstein's saying, yeah, he knew about the girls. Now that Donald Trump's name is in the Jeffrey Epstein files talking about Donald Trump filleting Bill Clinton, all of a sudden, it's a different tune. Anyway, I would love to know what your thoughts on this are. You can comment below this video wherever you're watching it, whether that be Facebook or YouTube.
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up.
Trump is withering. And I don't just mean cognitively. I mean he is finally facing a scandal that he feels is out of his control. And it shows. It is wearing on him. He looks tired. He looks beaten down. He looks unable to cope with what's happening around him. He lashes out. In moments where he wouldn't normally lash out, he would just give a funny little nickname to whoever he's talking about. He seems to be crashing out. He was asked questions on the tarmac there in Palm Beach on his way to his weekend vacation. Every weekend's a vacation for Donald Trump. And he's being asked about the Epstein files, specifically about Thomas Massey's role in it and about the release of the files. And he's also asked about Marjorie Taylor Greene and the death threats that she's now facing because Donald Trump is publicly attacking her as a traitor. We'll get to that because I want to talk a little bit about the treason element versus traitor element and how Donald Trump is invoking this particular language because in Republicans, I guess I'm going to get to it now, because in Republican circles, treason, they always talk about what's the punishment for treason? What's the consequence for treason? It's the death penalty. So when Donald Trump talks about traitor, who's a traitor? He's not talking about a traitor to the country. He's talking about a traitor to him because everything is transactional and dealing with his own deal. But I want to play this clip for you because it really does illustrate how he's not doing well. He's not doing well in a way that's not normally the way he doesn't do well. It's extra special. So watch this.
Representative Massey says he's concerned that the Epstein probe you are calling for could be a smokescreen to block the release of more files. Is that the case?
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration. So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party. So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
No, we want to talk about it, not to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, Donald Trump. We want to talk about it because it's concerning, is it not, that a sitting president of the United States, a former president of the United States' name is listed hundreds, if not thousands of times in the emails of a notorious, convicted rapist of children. Someone who said, you knew about the girls he trafficked and raped. That's not a deflection to want to know more details about that. That's common decency. That's a pursuit of justice, a pursuit of information, a pursuit of consequence for the criminals in honor of the victims of these heinous crimes. To paint this as some kind of a distraction does not give the respect to the victims, the hundreds maybe victims of Jeffrey Epstein, of some would say Donald Trump, some would say Bill Clinton, some would say Bill Gates. I see this all over the internet now. I was on Threads the other day, and some idiot was like, yeah, now Democrats, they don't want these files released because now Bill Clinton's implicated. Okay, convict him. Bury Bill Clinton under the prison, because if he raped kids, that's what he deserves. I don't know any Democrat that's like, oh, we must protect Bill Clinton at all costs. I don't know anybody. So the other thing that he says, after we call him Rand Paul Jr., all of that nonsense, he was asked about the death threats that are coming the way of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Again, I'm not going to shed any tears about the threats that are coming her way. No one should receive death threats, absolutely. But when you traffic in that kind of vitriol, when you threaten the lives of people through your rhetoric and then it comes your way, it just seems like the chicken's coming home to roost, if you ask me. But Donald Trump denies it and wants to lay it on a little thicker by labeling her a traitor.
Her life could be in danger because of the rhetoric.
Her life is in danger? Who's that?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, she says.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her. Okay, what about you?
Are you negotiating?
You like how it's almost like he corrects the reporter. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene? I think you mean Marjorie Trader Greene. This is what we have for a president. This is what rises to the level of a president in the Republican Party. This is the man who hijacked their party, is destroying their party, and when he's dead, which could be within the next year from natural causes, of course. You can't have chicken gravy running through your veins trying to nourish your body with oxygen and live very long, and that's the case of Donald Trump. But this is what we got. And he's being backed. His play is being backed by Republicans. Senator Barrasso from Wyoming had this to say when asked, if the Epstein files vote passes in the House and gets to the Senate, what will be the result in the Senate?
If the Epstein measure passes the House, will it get a vote in the Senate?
It'll come to the Senate. We'll take a look at it. If it passes the House, we'll see what it says. And we all want accountability and transparency. But to me, this is not about truth. It's not about justice. This is about an attempt by the Democrats to make President Trump a lame duck president, and I'm not going to aid and abet them in their efforts to do that.
But you don't commit to a vote, Senator? You don't commit to holding a vote if the Epstein measure passes in the House? Just very quickly, we're almost out of time.
Well, but what I've said and what Senate Leader Thune has said is we'll look at it, we'll look at what's come over. I don't even know that it's going to pass the House. The Senate will make a decision, we'll have a discussion about it and make a decision from there.
First of all, these fucking people. So first of all, Donald Trump is a lame duck. By definition, he's a lame duck. We're not going to let these Democrats turn him into a lame duck. There are three definitions. One of them kind of butts up against what his presumed definition of it is. But this is from Merriam-Webster. One that is weak or that falls behind in ability or achievement, an elected official or group continuing to hold political office during the period between the election and the inauguration of a successor, or one whose position or term of office will end soon. Two of the three are what Donald Trump is. He is a lame duck because the Constitution forbids him from running for a third term, even though he's selling Trump 2028 merch, like he's going to live that long. The other thing that I want to talk about here is that he shits on this before he said, well, when it comes to us, we'll read it and see what it is, but I'll tell you this right now. And then he completely dismisses the thing. This isn't an attack on Donald Trump. This is seeking justice for victims of sexual violence when they were children, when they were kids. But these Republican ghouls will do anything to protect their dear leader. They will do anything. And all of this, mark my words, it's not just me who believes it. They're going to say that there was they've reopened the investigation. There was so much publicity for this. We're doing the right thing to seek justice for the victims. So now we can't release the files because there's an active criminal investigation. It's what they're going to do. It's what I believe. And it's what Senator Coons also believes.
What's the plan in terms of getting the House passed resolution in front of the Senate? How soon will that happen? How soon will these Republicans get a chance to reverse their votes and try to clean up their act?
So this is going to be an interesting week. My gut hunch is that Attorney General Bondi, having just been ordered on social media by the president to open an investigation into a series of high-profile Democrats, will promptly say, oh, no, there's an ongoing investigation. We can't disclose any of this. And the president will back that up. But you are absolutely right. We should be going to the floor every day and doing unanimous consent requests that say we should see these files now. We owe it to the victims. We owe it to transparency. Trump ran on, I will release the Epstein files on day one, and has done everything possible, including hauling Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room for a closed-door muscle session. This is just a despicable act of betraying the victims of Epstein. It's long past time that we get transparency around this for the American people.
Yeah, we live in a world where Donald Trump is directing the Attorney General, the head of the Department of Justice, to do things over social media. That's just how depraved and idiotic the Republican Party is right now. How depraved and idiotic Donald Trump is. How obsequious and sycophantic and what a bootlick our Attorney General, our disseminator of justice is in this country. It is kind of nice to watch Donald Trump crumble under the weight of reporters' questions, though, is it not? Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below the video. You can do it on Facebook, where you should be liking and following the Dollemore Daily. We're over 35,000 likes and follows on that page, and almost 1.5 million here on YouTube. Make that make sense.
Well, first of all, I defend every single person's free speech rights. I think that's incredibly important. So I don't apologize for that, and I don't believe in canceling people.
Much to my chagrin, and I believe yours, CNN and the mainstream media at large is trying to rehabilitate the image of Marjorie Taylor Greene, allowing her massive segments of airtime on their air to rehabilitate. I've turned over a new leaf, y'all. I'm a different person. Yeah. The woman who just months ago, several moments in her career as a politician, she has done this, it's time for a national divorce, kind of calling for a civil war in the United States, a secession of conservative states from the Union, or maybe forcing blue states out of the Union. And now that Donald Trump has turned on her, she needs refuge. She needs somewhere that's going to put her on TV all the time to get the publicity that she so desires. And it's not coming from Fox News. It's not coming from Newsmax. It's not coming from OAN. They will write her off just as Donald Trump has. So who steps in to fill that void, to get their little tasty ratings? Dana Bash on CNN. Some questions she asked were hard questions, were legitimate questions, but others, it's just an opportunity to give her a platform to change people's minds. I'm getting messages on social media attacking me from Democrats, ostensibly, who are saying, if she's changing, you need to give her a chance to change hearts and her heart and her mind. She's really doing the work. No, she's not. Because if you ask for forgiveness, the thing you need to do before you ask for forgiveness is to say, I was wrong. I made a mistake. Here are the ways that I wronged you. These are the things that I did wrong. She's not doing any of that. She's saying, I've changed, but she's not saying exactly where she made mistakes. And when pressed about her previous mistakes, she doubles down. I've not changed at all. The only thing that has changed about Marjorie Taylor Greene, other than the fact that she doesn't have as many allies in the Republican Party, is the fact that she softened her tone. She seems nicer and more sane. She doesn't wave her hands around. They're always at her sides. She seems demure and sophisticated even. She's gotten some media training. That's the difference in Marjorie Taylor Greene right now. Well, part of the interview, again, 18 minutes. This was over 18 minutes long, and I'm only going to play 2 or so minutes of it. But this is Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to talk about her past associations with white Christian nationalists like Nick Fuentes. And you will never believe what her prescription for CNN is. That, well, maybe you should put Nick Fuentes, the Nazi, the Holocaust denier, the lover of Hitler, maybe you should put him on CNN and ask him some questions.
You're talking about lowering the rhetoric, which is important for everybody to hear from you and all of our elected officials. But there is some concern, a lot of concern among Republicans about the rise of anti-Semitic hard-right figures in your movement, especially after Tucker Carlson hosted white nationalist Nick Fuentes on his podcast, didn't question Fuentes about his vile language or views. You did speak at a conference hosted by Fuentes back in 2022. You were criticized, and you said then that you didn't know about his views. Well, Fuentes talked to Carlson about that in the interview. Listen to what he said.
Well, again, with Marjorie, I was a friend of hers, and she spoke at my conference, and then the day after, she pretended like she didn't know me. She pretended like she didn't know me and lied and said I had no idea the conference I was speaking at. She knew exactly what it was.
What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I defend every single person's free speech rights. I think that's incredibly important. So I don't apologize for that, and I don't believe in canceling people. And I think it's important for people like Tucker Carlson and yourself to interview everyone. I don't believe in trying to cancel someone by refusing to interview them and question them. And I did speak at his conference back in 2022. However, I don't know Nick Fuentes. He's someone I've never exchanged text messages with or phone calls, but I did speak at his conference. That was the first time I had met him that day, and that was it. But I did watch the interview. I watched the full interview with Tucker, and I admire him for interviewing many people as well as exposing a lot of powerful information.
I hear what you're saying.
He does on his show.
I hear what you're saying about free speech. I mean, count me as guilty as a proponent of free speech. There's free speech, and then there is hate speech. And this is a man invited on a really prominent conservative show who said, even during that interview, he had a problem with, quote, organized Jewry, and he wasn't challenged on it. In the past, he has denied the Holocaust, called Adolf Hitler effing cool, talked about the fact that he thought Jim Crow was just fine, and on and on. So again, there's free speech, and then there's just hateful language and sentiments.
Well, Dana, again, I told you on this interview that I'm committed to ending the toxic politics, and I think I don't want to have anything to do with it. You should have Nick Fuentes on your show, and you could ask him questions about that.
So who's buying this? Look, Brittany Page yesterday did a video really laying bare the Republican history of cozying up to racists, cozying up to the white power movement, cozying up to Nazi rhetoric, and then having just enough plausible deniability to act like they're not. Like Lindsey Graham, for instance, I'm not going to play the clip, go watch her video on YouTube. Lindsey Graham talked about, I'm in the Hitler sucks wing of the Republican Party. She played this clip. And baked into that comment means that if I'm in the Hitler sucks camp, wing of the Republican Party, that there's a Hitler is great wing of the Republican Party. It's just, it's by extension, by the transitive property. And they're okay with it. Marjorie Taylor Greene seems okay with it. She accepted an invite to a white Christian nationalist conference hosted by the little Nazi puke, Nick Fuentes. Donald Trump had dinner with the guy. This is the Republican Party. She's still the Republican Party. And CNN is seen fit to use their massive platform and the massive reach of their network to rehabilitate her, to give her the opportunity to do so, rather than have her be persona non grata because of all of the insanity, because of all the anti-Semitism, because of all the racism, because of how many times she's told foreign journalists to go the f*** back to your country. And they still want to treat her like normal, decent company. It's gross. What are your opinions on this? And look, this isn't just an independent media person taking a dump on corporate media. I mean, it is that, but it's not solely for that purpose. This is a real problem. She's a real threat that should not be allowed to be rehabilitated. If you want to rehabilitate yourself, quit your job as a congresswoman, rerun under this new persona, and then maybe. But until then, this is just a jerk around of the American people, of MAGA, and of the rest of us decent and normal people. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below. You can also call the voicemail line. Leave me a fewer than 3-minute voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I do want to hear from you on this, and there'll be a link below to Brittany Page's video. You really should go check it out. It is a solid one, backed with all kinds of receipts, as she always does. And while you're there, subscribe. It's a good time.
Meeting people, talking to people, like for somebody like Tucker, that's what they do. People are controversial. Some are, some aren't.
Speaking of Nazis in the Republican Party, that's a phrase, that's a saying you just don't hear about Democrats. Speaking of Nazis in the Democratic Party, not a thing. It's so funny on social media, you have people that come in and go, well, the KKK was founded by Democrats. The Democrats were the ones that as though the parties haven't shifted at all over the course of the 150 years that they're talking about. As though when someone's flying a Confederate flag, they're participating in an insurrection against the country at the behest of Donald Trump, traipsing through the United States Capitol. Every time you see KKK or Nazis rallying and marching through the cities of the United States, they are invariably there as conservatives, as Republicans, as devotees of Donald Trump. When the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys and all of their racial bullshit, they are Republicans. They serve at the behest of Donald Trump. They deploy to try to overthrow the United States government for Donald Trump. So all of that is just nonsense and bullshit. And Donald Trump was asked about this Tucker Carlson interview that he did with Nick Fuentes, and asked, what's Tucker Carlson's role in the future going forward in the Republican Party? And then it's followed up by, I'm going to play another clip of him, the reporter asking the same thing about Nick Fuentes. What role does he have in the Republican Party? The fact that these questions are even being offered, they're even being asked, is a big deal. Because no one's asking Chuck Schumer, what role does Nick Fuentes have in the Republican Party or in the Democratic Party? No one's asking that. Because it's outlandish. That they don't traffic in the same circles. They don't go to the same parties. These people they're not Democrats. They are Republicans. The Republican Party has a Nazi problem, a racism problem, a white supremacy problem, a white Christian nationalist problem. Here's the reporter asking Donald Trump about that problem.
Friendly interview with anti-Semite Nick Fuentes. Tucker Carlson. What role do you think Tucker Carlson should play in the Republican Party and the conservative movement going forward?
Well, I found him to be good. I mean, he said good things about me over the years. I think he's good. We've had some good interviews. I did an interview with him. We had 300 million hits. You know that. Look, I can't tell him. Will you let me finish my saying? You are the worst. You're with Bloomberg, right? You are the worst. I don't know why they even have you. We've had some great interviews with Tucker Carlson, but you can't tell him who to interview. I mean, if he wants to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know much about him, But if he wants to do it, get the word out. Let him, people have to decide. Ultimately, people have to decide. The mayor of New York, I will say, would like to meet with us and we'll work something out. But he would like to come to Washington and meet, and we'll work something out. We want to see everything work out well for New York.
You yourself had
Doesn't it make your brain hurt what a dumb f*** Donald Trump is? What a dipshit he is. That his barometer as to whether he likes someone or not, or whether someone's opinion are worthy, it all is a transaction with him. It's transactional about how they've talked about him. How they've spoken highly of him, how an interview that he did with them got all kinds of good ratings or metrics. He doesn't address the substance, that Tucker Carlson is a white nationalist, is someone who has said immigration makes our country dirtier and poorer. Not illegal immigration, no. Any immigration, brown people, they make our country dirtier and poorer. He said this when he had a Fox News show, when he hosted his nightly white supremacy fireside chat. Reporter asked a similar question about Nick Fuentes' role in the Republican Party going forward.
I had dinner with Nick Fuentes at Mar-a-Lago a few years ago. What role should he play in the conservative movement?
Well, I didn't know he was coming, and he was with, as you know, somebody, Kanye. And Kanye asked if he could have dinner, and he brought Nick. I didn't know Nick at the time. And he did. He came, and along with a few other people. He brought a few people with him. Meeting people, talking to people, like for somebody like Tucker, that's what they do. People are controversial. Some are, some aren't. I'm not controversial, so I like it that way. Okay.
Why are no Republicans of any note concerned that Donald Trump had a holiday dinner with a Nazi, with a Holocaust-denying Hitler lover in Nick Fuentes? I mean, it's bad enough that he had dinner with Kanye West, who is also those things. Kanye West, who wears White Lives Matter shirts, just legitimizing that racist talking point. Because White Lives Matter is a counter to Black Lives Matter. All Lives Matter is a counter to Black Lives Matter. Because all lives cannot matter if Black lives don't matter. Right? But here's the President of the United States not saying, no, I have nothing to do with Nazis. I have nothing to do. He can't say that because he shares their views. He shares their ideologies. He shares meals with them at his home. You don't ambush the President of the United States or a former President of the United States by bringing somebody along that isn't approved. This guy has round-the-clock Secret Service protection. You don't think that they knew who was going to be at the dinner table that night? If you do believe that, I think that you're pretty naive. And this was messaging to Nick Fuentes, who, by the way, saw this, obviously, replied on Twitter, "Thank you, Mr. President." Message received. This is another stand back and stand by moment for Donald Trump, except now he's speaking to explicit Nazis. The Groyper army of morons, young children who have been brainwashed or influenced by the malign talking points and ideologies and philosophies of these dipshits, these racists, the people who want a white ethno-state, a Christian nation, but not the Christianity that was taught and espoused by Jesus Christ, a new form of Christianity, a complete bastardization of all of the tenets of charity and love, agape love, unconditional love. This is a party that wants to drag us back to the times of slavery, when slave owners would take out all of the liberation scriptures in the Bibles that they would give and provide for their enslaved individuals, the human beings that they owned like property. This is what they want to bring us back to. They're erasing the contributions, military, scientific, cultural, of black people across the country. literally erasing photos on Pentagon websites of black people, altering the displays at World War II museums in the Netherlands, removing images of black soldiers, all at the hands of Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth. Nick Fuentes doesn't need to have a role in the Republican Party for it to be a Nazi party. It already is. It already is. Anyway, I would love your participation in this conversation. Brittany Page, I mentioned just a few minutes ago, but Brittany Page did a video about this, about the easy, cozy relationship and the history of it going back to Donald Trump's entrance into toying with a run for president back in 1999. You should go check that out. I'll link to it below. It really brings some receipts, deals with all of this and then some. So go check that out and subscribe while you're there. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com.
Well, if you look at Walmart and the few places that put out their prices of Thanksgiving baskets.
Wait a minute. I got to stop because the Walmart comparison's like not a thing. I mean, the one this year contains much less than what the one last year took. So that's why the price is less.
You know very well the strategy of Donald Trump, which is just to lie at a record-breaking clip. You repeat the lie over and over and over. He's actually said in speeches, ignore what you see with your eyes and your ears. You just need to believe what I tell you is true. It's Orwellian. It's definitionally Orwellian. It's almost taken right out of Orwell's writings. And Donald Trump is doing the same thing right now. He's done this with the Stop the Steal, with every other lie he's told at a rapid clip. And now it's prices. Except this time, I don't know that it's going to work because you can't convince someone that prices are down by 25% when they're going and shopping for Thanksgiving dinner this year. And he's using, I talked about it last week, but he's using Walmart. He says they made a study, or they found this. He used some weird turn of phrase about Walmart conducting a study and determining that prices are down 25%. This is a lie. It's based not even in a kernel of truth. It's just a lie. Walmart released a food box that is 25% less money cost this year than last year, except it contains way fewer items, and the items that it does contain are their great value Walmart house brand. They're not name brand stuff. It makes a big difference. So here's Donald Trump, shamelessly, sickening, just repeating these lies over and over and over in an attempt to convince Americans that what they're feeling in their pocketbook is not true.
And again, I go to Walmart and other companies, and in every case, it's about 25% that a meal, a Thanksgiving meal and surroundings are 25% lower than it was under the Biden administration. That's a big fact, and that comes from Walmart and others that do that. Okay?
And Republicans are running with this narrative. Here's Keith Self, a Republican, I believe, from Texas. He's I want to call him a dildo with ears, but that's cordoned off for Tom Homan. Keith Self looks like a thumb with like a face painted on it. Maybe slap some ears on it. He's like a Mr. Potato Head in human form here, and he is repeating these same idiot lies from Donald Trump.
It seems like maybe some cracks are also forming on the right, in regards to maybe the Epstein files, immigration, more. I mean, what is your take when it comes to the turmoil on both sides of the aisle that we're kind of seeing right now?
Well, for the Democrats, they are basically bowing to the progressive left. The AOCs of their party, both in the Senate and in the House, are in charge now. So, Schumer lost this fight big time within his own party, and I suspect he'll pay a price. On the right, look, the Epstein files are going to be put behind us this week. And we're going to move on. We're going to be united going forward because if you saw Fox News just recently, groceries, gas, inflation in general is down under President Trump. Now, the mainstream media won't tell you that, but those are the actual numbers. We just have to get the American people understanding that things are better off and are going to continue to get better because of the one big beautiful bill that kicks in 1 January. Going forward, things are going to be better, people are going to feel better, and we're going to get this country back on track.
Yeah, I mean, you go to, like you said, you go to the grocery store, you go to the pump, prices are definitely lower.
The mainstream media won't tell you that. We don't need the media to tell us that when we go to the grocery store, we're paying more. That when we go to the grocery store, we leave with less money than we had we bought those things when Joe Biden was president. As much of the promises of Donald Trump to provide a relief, economic relief, it's not happening. And everyone knows. Even the cult members know. And it's not just Donald Trump. It's not just congressmen who have their face painted on a thumb. It is also Kevin Hassett, a guy with ostensibly a PhD in economics, someone who should know exactly what's going on. Not should know, he does know. But he's now not a paid economist, he's a paid liar. He's a paid propagandist for Donald Trump. So he's also repeating these, and then when Jonathan Karl, the man he was being interviewed by, starts explaining how he's wrong about the Walmart lie specifically, he gets stupid all of a sudden. I don't understand, what? It's remarkable. It really is. You shouldn't be surprised by it, but you should always maintain your shock, your outrage, that they will lie right to your face. Disgusting. Watch Kevin Hassett.
The president claims that Thanksgiving costs are down 25%. I mean, does he know that's not true?
Well, if you look at Walmart and the few places that put out their prices of Thanksgiving baskets.
Wait a minute, I got to stop because the Walmart comparison's like not a thing. I mean, Walmart had a Thanksgiving package last year. They've got a Thanksgiving package this year. The one this year contains much less than what the one last year took. So that's why the price is less. Look, we got a chart here. Last year, it was 21 total products. This year, it's 15. Total number of items in those products was 29% now. 29, now it's 22. There's more generic brand stuff. So, I mean, Thanksgiving, if you're going to the store to buy groceries for Thanksgiving, it's going to be more expensive this year.
I really don't understand where you're going in the sense that Joe Biden gave us 20%
He's not
inflation.
president. Donald Trump's president.
No, and you want us to fix the hole that Joe Biden dug right away.
Why does the president tell
the prices went up so much under Joe Biden, and inflation is way down. Inflation is about half what it was in December. This is something that's being fixed fast, and real incomes are up after dropping about 3,000 under Joe Biden. And so, sure, you can find a few things where the price is higher, but there's a whole bunch of stuff where the price is lower, like gasoline, like mortgage rates.
When are we going to get the Republican plan to
You understand that mortgage rates have gone way down, and it's much cheaper to buy a home now than it was when President Trump took office.
Down, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand where you're going with this. I don't understand. What? Wait, where am I? I just woke up from a deep slumber. Where am I? Why am I on TV? They're asking specifically about Donald Trump's continued lie about the Walmart thing. And he acts like where are you going with this? And then it takes a detour. And Jonathan Karl, not to his credit, didn't stop it in its tracks. When these people start to lie, you have an obligation, mainstream media, to stop them, to correct the record. You tried, valiant effort to begin with, but you got to finish. You got to go the whole race. And they don't. It's a bummer because a lot of people don't know about the lie that Donald Trump is telling about Walmart. They do believe that Walmart has announced that prices are down 25%. They'll look at that box if they didn't buy it last year and they hear, oh, this is way cheaper than it was last year, not knowing the specific details. It's a disservice to information. It's a disservice to the Constitution in that the free press is the only occupation, I've said it 1,000 times, the only occupation listed in the Constitution of the United States as protected. And they are squandering that protection under the Constitution. They are running with their tails behind their legs away from Donald Trump or to him, who knows, in an effort to salvage some access to the administration. Who cares? With the access that you get is all you get lies. Who cares about that access? Anyway, what do you think? I want to hear from you. What have you noticed where you live about the prices? I know they've gone up in Washington, D.C. I'm in New York City right now. I'll be here tomorrow too. And they're feeling it here as well. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily Dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you. Thanks for your engagement. Thanks for your concern for the country. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.